Okay, it looks like nah. No thanks. All right, we've been having some technical difficulties here today, so I'm just gonna. Wow, this is crazy. We are the Cannabis Chronicles. I'm your boy, brother Bong. Our weekly candid cannabis community conversation where we talk about our favorite subject. I don't want to. I don't want to add anybody to my topic. What are you doing? All right, can't see. So let's see. Check 1, 2. Check 1 2. All right, we are the Cannabis Chronicles. I'm your boy, Dr. Bong, and hopefully all of the technical difficulties have been taken care of. I don't know what the status of the microphone situation is going to be. I want to cancel that. Just cancel the search. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so I don't have to keep searching. All right, so we are the Cannabis Chronicles. I'm your boy, Brother Bond. We are weekly candid cannabis conversation. And this is our fifth season. We are on this platform, and we're going to be on Buzzsprouts. So later on tonight, we're going to upload this to Buzzsprouts. We're going to be on that platform, and you can check us out there. You can also check us out on Google. And wow, let's see. Have Buzzsprouts is the main Apple, and excuse me, should have pulled this note out before. Right, so we are on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart, and Podcast Index. If you want to check us out there, so we are the Cannabis Chronicles. I'm your boy, Dr. Bong, and show topic today is multiple sclerosis, the condition. We're presented to you by Starr Enterprises and Best Buds Magazine, aka Best Buds Media. I am your co-host. I'm your host, Dr. Bong, and I'm coming to you on the stereo platform. So welcome, friends, stoners, and CannaFam. This is the Cannabis Chronicles. And we are presented by Starr Enterprises. And I'm Dr. Bong. And tonight, we're exploring a condition that affects millions of people around the world, yet it's still widely misunderstood. Multiple sclerosis, also known as MS. Now, MS is a neurological disease that affects the brain and the spinal cord. Now, what happens at that point is it can disrupt your movement, how you walk, the ability to walk, your coordination, your sensation, so and also vision. So that's pretty hard to those things. I mean, every day, if I think about it, all those things I have to deal with every day: movement, coordination, sensation, and vision. I'm getting older, so I actually have on readers to read my stuff, and so I can see it from far away. So many people, who and shout out to our friends and who are people and who are dealing with this, but many people living with MS experience muscle stiffness, nerve pain, chronic fatigue, difficulty with their coordination. So sometimes many patients, their everyday activities can be unpredictable. And alongside traditional treatments, some patients and researchers have begun exploring another tool. Guess what? Cannabis. That's right. So tonight we're going to explore multiple sclerosis through four lenses, as we do as our platform. We're going to talk about it through a business perspective. We could talk about New York is on pace to outdo California's original early numbers for their expansion for the cannabis space. We're going to talk about culture. The patients in New York medical cannabis program reduced opioid prescriptions, and that's from a federally funded study. So we're going to check that out. Health, we're going to talk about multiple sclerosis. And in potpourri, we got some little fun with you. We're going to talk about something that's a little different. Everybody talks about songs that are pro-cannabis, but we're going to talk about something a little different tonight. We are the Cannabis Chronicles. I am your boy, Brother Bong, and we are a weekly candid cannabis community conversation, and we try to keep it. We try to keep it about cannabis. About cannabis, but medical cannabis specifically. And I keep saying we. I keep saying we. I keep saying we. We do have a co-host that normally joins the show, but he has been under the weather. And so, I, suggested that he, just take it back and just get a little bit of Get a little bit of respite because it's important to heal. So shout out to you, my boy, my brother from another mother, aka Wild Bill Wofford, aka Professor Waffles. He is a staple here on the show. So as I said to you earlier, I miss you, man. I can't wait for you to come back. So we look forward to seeing you, and we look forward for you to joining the show. So as I said, we talk about we're going to talk about multiple sclerosis in a business perspective, and you see, because what happens is that the cannabis industry is expanding, and it's expanding rapidly, and definitely here in New York. No doubt about it. Things are definitely moving at a rapid pace, and legal markets are also developing. So dispensaries are opening, patients are gaining access to cannabis in ways that would have seemed impossible a decade ago. I'm telling you, just a decade ago, people were still running and stashing their cannabis if they saw the law and they wanted to not have to deal with them. So that's truly, truly, truly is a true statement. So we are the Cannabis Chronicles. An article from Marijuana Business Daily reports that New York cannabis sales are on pace to rival cannabis. Let's slow down, Jeff. Okay. An article from Marijuana Biz Daily reports that New York cannabis sales are on pace to rival California's early regulatory benchmarks, according to state regulators. Now, that's significant because California has long been the largest cannabis market in the United States. So seeing New York's market expand this quickly shows how dramatically this industry is evolving and is growing here in New York. But growth brings responsibility. And behind every market statistic is a real patient. Someone's mom, someone's dad, someone's friend, someone you know. So, it's important that we understand that behind every market statistic is a real patient. Someone managing chronic pain. I am sharing, I am a chronic pain patient. I have chronic pain in my knees and my back. And before I discovered medical cannabis, I wasn't, how do I say this? It was very debilitating for me to use opioids. So when I used opioids, they were very, very, they knocked me out. So I couldn't take them like and work and function. Like I know some people who could take opioids and function and go about their day like it's nothing, like everything is on okay, fine. But I'm not that kind of person. So I had to live with that during the day and then go home, deal with the debilitating effects of the medicine. And in my days off, Saturday and Sunday, I would just basically, Saturday you recuperate, Sunday you would dread Monday. So that's really, really what it is. So in the United States especially. So, um, but what we don't realize, we talk about all this expanding, we talk about all this expansion, excuse me, the right word. We talk about market shares and money and everything like that. But someone having neurological condition like MS is just looking for help, is just looking for somebody to help. And that's where we come in. That's where and I say we again, because we are the Chronicles crew. I'm Dr. Bong, yes, and we're the Cannabis Chronicles. But we've had a crew for a very long time, folks who, check out the show on a regular basis and, want to find out more about cannabis and specifically not just talking about consuming cannabis, smoking, but also cannabis as a medicinal purpose, a medicinal benefit. So someone out there, they're definitely searching for relief, and we want to make sure that they find them. So for me, I feel that the cannabis industry must continue to prioritize certain things, and this is definitely in my wheelhouse. We talk about patient education, we talk about responsibility and regulation, we talk about medical research, and we talk about safe access. All those things are very important because, as I've said many, many times, cannabis is not just about, rolling up, smoking, but it's also, which is all well and fine. Trust me, I enjoy my cannabis just like the next guy. And not only is it part of my medicinal routine, but it's also part of my life routine. So quick shout out to two friends of the show helping move cannabis forward. Talking about friends of the show, Best Buds Magazine, covering cannabis culture, advocacy, and industry developments, and Sage Genetics, working on cannabis genetics and cultivation scientists. And also, shout out to Sage Genetics because the strain of the week is, last week it was Cherry Gushers. And this week it is, and they'll talk about it, and we'll talk about it more in depth, but it's lemon cherry gelato. We're going to talk a little bit more about it later on in the show. But the strain of the week is lemon cherry gelato. So, we're going to look at, as I said, we're talking about multiple sclerosis this evening. And as I said many times, cannabis isn't for everybody, but everybody knows somebody who can benefit from medical cannabis. And so multiple sclerosis is one of those things, one of those conditions that many people know people who have individuals in their life who may suffer from this condition and be looking for a relief, looking for something, and they've tried all kind of other things. So, because what happens is that when we look at it through that lens, multiple sclerosis is often described as an invisible illness. So that means that someone may appear perfectly healthy while experiencing neurological symptoms internally. What did my mama say? If you don't know what a person's going through until you walk through their shoes. So that person may appear to be just fine, but the condition that they're suffering from is debilitating them from inside. So this can lead to misunderstanding and isolation. Um, people who suffer from multiple sclerosis often find that because the condition can be progressively debilitative. It finds that they find themselves to be isolated and misunderstood. Support communities and advocacy networks. Um, and I think this is part of that. We're an advocacy network. If you talk about it, if you want to talk about it, we're here for you to do that. Help change the conversation. And the most important thing is that we help change that conversation, whether it be here, whether it be around the dinner table, whether it be at a dinner party, whether it be at a work function. Change the conversation about cannabis, because the stigma is something that is real. The stigma is something that has just been, since day one, since it had its foot and throat, its knee in the throat of a real understanding what cannabis was, and that was racism, um, through and through. Even that's why I don't use the word marijuana. I always want to remember that word was rooted in a space where individuals were trying to demonize a plant, and so the only way they could demonize it was to make it be exotic and sound like it was exotic, and so that word was made up. So, but getting back to the subject on hand, so multiple sclerosis is often described as an invisible illness. So, and increasingly, cannabis is becoming part of those discussions. We are changing that conversation. This conversation we are having today here at the Cannabis Chronicles, we are doing that. We're changing the conversation. I came across an article. A federally funded study examining New York's medical cannabis program found that patients participating in the program experienced significant reduction in opioid prescriptions. These findings were highlighted in the article in Marijuana Moment. Now, for decades, let's face it, for decades, opioids were the go-to prescription for chronic pain, and it was the default treatment for chronic pain. It was what all doctors and clinicians deferred to. But as we're experiencing, as we know, as we've discussed, cannabis access is expanding. So many patients are exploring alternatives with their healthcare providers. And let's face this, let's say this always when I say, yeah, my name says Dr. Bong, but I am not a doctor. I'm not your doctor. And nothing that I say on this show should be considered to be medical advice. We strongly suggest that you, and if you are interested in medical cannabis, then seek out the advice of your primary care physician. And to be honest with you, nowadays, especially if you're in New York, many primary care physicians are, open to having that conversation with their patients because, as I said, for millions and millions of people, this is an alternative. So, let's see, this was so, but like I said, as cannabis has become more acceptable and uh, more used more often, then the expands patients are exploring alternatives with their healthcare providers. This represents a broader cultural shift towards patient's choice and wellness-based care. So what does that mean? That means that, yes, the doctor can prescribe you an opioid, but you may have a supplement. Like many folks have found that they have been able to use their opioid, and you again, just again, consult your physician. But it allows you. Many folks seem to use less of the opioids when they use it in conjunction with a cannabis regimen. Like if it's your knee, you can actually take your opioid medication, and then if you're using a topical for cannabis, you can apply that balm directly to where it hurts, and that is a direct contact relief medication. So it represents again, you know, we we have come so far, definitely come so far, but we have so far to go. We have so much more to learn. We have so much further to get. But as you know, we will get there. And you know, it's up to us. It's up to folks like us to use our voices as a catalyst for that change. And so we are the Cannabis Chronicles. I am Dr. Bong. We are a weekly candid cannabis community conversation where we chop it up about cannabis. Today's subject is multiple sclerosis. As I said earlier, I am not a doctor. I was dubbed Dr. Bong a few years ago when I first started talking on this platform with Ty. Shout out to Ty. Hopefully you and Summer and baby girl are doing well in Canada. But he had asked me a question, and at the time I kind of broke it down for him, and he was like, "Yo, man, you're a doctor, man, Dr. Bong." And so it stuck, and I like it. But I am not a doctor. I am not your doctor. So please do not consider this to be any medical advice. Friends of the show, two more friends of the show tonight. We want to shout out, our good friends from Cannabis Society. If you want to get involved, if you want to be involved, boots on the ground, join the platoon. Reach out to our friends at the Cannabis Society because what they do is they promote cannabis education, awareness, and they educate, they advocate, and they connect folks. So if you want to do that, if you want to be part of something like that, and everybody doesn't want to be plant touching, but many people want to get involved. So if you want to get involved, check out their website. It's canaware.org. That's canaware.org. And be boots on the ground. So shout out to Grizz, Abe, Sam, and the ladies Starr and Nori Thank you so much, because this is real life. This is real life activism. This is real life education, and these are real life connections. So thanks so much, Grizz, for all that you do. Also, our friends at, here we go, at Chill Pipes. Shout out to Justin and his friends for bringing creativity and design to the cannabis culture. You can check them out. You can check the pipes out at chillstore.com. That's chillstore.com, and check out Justin, and his team over at the Chill Store. And I really love obviously Dr. Bong, but I have a collection of bongs. And one of the bongs I have in my collection is a bong from Chill Pipes. And her name is Ebony. Nice, it's maybe a 1 foot bong. Nice, everything from Dr. Bong. I like Johnny Cash of the world. So I like black. I have a lot of black stuff. I just got a new black phone with a black case. And but anyway, the bong. The bong is black, and that's why hence the name Ebony. So shout out to Justin and his team and the crew over at Cool Chill Pipes and budsfeed.com. You can check them out at budsfeed.com and get some information. You can follow up. You may even see one of the stories I talk about here on the show, and we go from from there. Because as I said, we are the Cannabis Chronicles, and what we do is we chop it up about cannabis in a medical perspective. And today's show, we're talking about multiple sclerosis. And if many of you don't know, multiple sclerosis it affects how the nerve signals travel through the body. So the immune system, what happens is it damages the protective covering of the of the nerve fibers, disrupting communication between the brain and muscles. So what that leads to is stuff like muscle spasms, nerve pain, fatigue, sleep disturbances. So that is really, really, really part of every day. I mean, you really, how do you? We talked about fibromyalgia last week, and how debilitating that condition is, and how to suffer with that, and how cannabis is again, cannabis is not a snake oil. You're never going to hear Dr. Baum call cannabis a snake oil. What it is a supplement, and it does help, I don't know, bridge the gap, help to fill the gap. That's a better word, Doc. Fill the gap for cannabis and opioids and benzos and those type of medications. But again, consult your real physician, your real PCP, and find out. I was about to sing Aretha Franklin, but because I said the PCP, RESPECT, excuse me. Great song. Respect. Shout out to the Queen of Soul. Rest in peace, Queen Aretha Franklin. So, when the endocannabinoid system, which if you listen to the word endocannabinoid system, which cannabis interacts with, plays a role in regulating, guess what? Nobody? Nothing? Pain signals, inflammation, muscle control, and sleep cycles. So if you look at muscle spasms, nerve pain, fatigue, sleep disturbances, yeah. You're checking all those boxes with cannabis and with the endocannabinoid system and how cannabis interacts with the endocannabinoid system. And again, having a ratio of a medication, having a medication that has equal parts THC and CBD in it, allow an individual to regulate how they feel. how much of the psychotropic experience they have and how much they don't have. It's important for folks to realize that yes, cannabis is a psychotropic. It will make you feel loopy. So if you don't know what you're doing, you don't want to just try and smoke a joint or a blunt with somebody. And although you may have temporary relief, but once that effect wears off of you, if you have chronic pain, then you're going to be back to square one. And if that person's not readily available, or you don't have that cannabis readily available, it's going to be a learning process, a learning curve. And that's where, again, that's where I cut my teeth. That's where I learned to help folks and to be able to ask those questions. And, it goes back to, being a good salesperson. I used to do sales a long time ago. And the best way to help somebody is to listen to them. Because isn't sales really just listening, or isn't sales just really helping somebody, helping them make a choice into whatever the case may be? Isn't that what you do? So listening. So, and that is the core of what I do with medical cannabis. Like the first thing I want to do is I want to listen to the patient. I want to find out like where their comfortability level is, like where their cannabis experience is, because again, that's going to affect things as well. That's going to affect things big time. Now, if you have a person who's cannabis naive and has never consumed cannabis ever in their life, and then you have someone, say like myself, who I take away all the things I know. I'm just a person who consumes what I consume, how I consume, how much I consume. So at that point, now you have to look at the individual as how do I help this person use cannabis medicinally? How does this medicinal cannabis help this person? How can it help this person? So you want to factor that in. You want to factor in the fact that that person is cannabis naive. But on the other side of that, you want to factor in the fact that a person may be cannabis savvy. They may be a consumer of cannabis, and then you have to factor that in, because now at that point you're going to have to dose them differently. Now I had my very first experience, not my very first experience, but in the beginning, I had a patient come in. He was a veteran. And let me tell you, I'm a veteran, so we hit it off with that. So that was, first of all, we hit it off with the veteran thing. Shout out to all of the veterans across the board, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force. So shout out to all the veterans. But I had a veteran come into my dispensary, and he wanted to have oh, let me see what's going on. Hello, Aquarius girl. How you doing out here?
Hey, I'm a veteran too. Yay, veterans for life. Oh my goodness. How you doing today? How you doing today, brother? Nice seeing you up here talking.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining the Cannabis Chronicles. I'm your boy, Dr. Bong. In today's subject, we're talking about multiple sclerosis, and basically the overlying theme across the board is that cannabis is medicine. I don't know what your veteran experience is. Many of my patients have been veterans who suffer PTSD, and they are looking for cannabis to help them with that PTSD, and see how that. Because I don't know if you know this, but recently the government passed. I was going to allow VA doctors to talk to veterans about cannabis as an alternative, as a therapy. So that's major because they will give us 10,000 different pharmaceutical medications, but they won't let us deal with cannabis. And obviously because of the federal restrictions, but the reclassification, the rescheduling, excuse me, from up top is going to change things. Don't think it is where we really wanted it to be. I mean, I've always been one that, rescheduling is great, but legalization is the ultimate goal because how do you legalize a seed, a plant? Do you legalize cucumber seeds? I can go to any store and purchase cucumber seeds and grow cucumber seeds. So why couldn't a person who has the capability and the desire to grow their own medicine not be able to grow their own medicine? Oh, that's why, because it is medicine. And Big Pharma doesn't want us to really see cannabis as the medicine that it is. I see posts every day about, oh, you don't need to use this, you don't need to use that, you don't need to use this. And I take all of that with a grain of salt and take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Don't just say, oh, okay, because Dr. Bong says XYZ, that's the way it is, because that's not what it is. And as I said earlier in the show, listen, multiple sclerosis is an individual thing. That is personal. I don't go through the pain that the individual goes through. I don't go through the fatigue, and I don't have the inflammation or the sleep cycle messed up. You know what I mean? But some research suggests cannabinoids can help reduce MS-related muscle spasticity and neuropathic pain. Now, what is spasticity? Spasticity is, when your muscles are jumping and you have like uncontrollable muscle twitches. So, we'll see. But cannabis is not a cure, but for some patients, it may provide a meaningful support within a broader treatment plan. As I said, you can talk to your doctor. So, our spotlight today is an article in CRX magazine titled Ask the Expert, and explores how cannabinoids interact with the body and how patients can approach cannabis therapy responsibly. Now, the key message is very, very simple, my friends. Cannabis works best when used thoughtfully and with medical guidance. So, which means you want to have ideas and you want to think about things like understanding dosage. You want to just understanding delivery methods. What are delivery methods, Dr. Bond? What are you talking about? Well, that's the route of administration. Every route of administration is different. Let's see, a case in point. Okay, people talk about edibles and they talk about, oh, I had a really rough experience with the edible because I ate too much. Well, what happens is that because each of those routes of administration is different, each of those delivery methods is different, they're going to have two distinct differences. And that's onset. And onset is just a fancy way of saying how quickly you're going to feel it, and then the duration of action. So we have a bubble here from our listener. Let's see what Aquarius Girl has to say.
If you don't mind, and if not, it's cool. It's cool. But if you don't mind, can I come up there? I actually got a few questions to ask you. Some things I would like you to educate me on. I could ask them in the messages, but I feel like it's better if I come up there. Just asking. Okay. I'm willing to listen.
Well, I'd be happy to bring you on. So let's see. Let's add you. Hey,
Hi, brother. Good evening.
good evening. How are you today?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Well, thank you
Dealing
for
with just a.
joining thank you for joining the Cannabis Chronicles. I'm your boy, Dr. Bong, and you are Aquarius Girl. Nice to meet you. Where you from?
I'm from Louisiana, actually.
Okay, I'm in New York. Thank you so
New
much.
York. I'm sorry, but
It's
yeah,
okay.
but it's nice seeing you up. It's nice seeing you up here. Um. So yeah.
So you had a
Are you ready
question, you
for?
said?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so one of the questions I wanted to ask, it was about okay, so you're talking about when you say cannabis, you talk about the medical weed, right?
Hmm.
Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yes, you're right. You're right. You're right. Absolutely. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Um, s- so I'm not asking you to diagnose me or anything, but I actually deal with like issues with like weed. I would like to smoke it, but it doesn't have the same effect on me like it does in everybody else, if that makes sense. Um,
It
I
does. It
deal
makes sense.
I deal with a lot of anxiety, and when I smoke certain things, and I don't even feel like the things that they sell in the dispensary is even really good for me. And
Hmm.
there's a reason I say that is because it does a lot more negative for me mentally when I smoke it or when I take it than it does good.
So what dosing method are you using?
I would either just smoke it or something like that, right?
Okay. And
Nothing big. I just it's not so, but like I literally have some sitting on my counter right now, and I'm really,
mhm.
really, 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 really scared to smoke it. Really scared.
Okay. See, because that could be a factor too. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's all about certain things, and one of the preliminary factors is how you come into it. So if you're really stressed out, then you may have a really stressed out experience. So you
Right.
may
And I don't
you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. And it's also like it's also okay, I have to stay away from sativas first of all because of that. You
I was
know?
going to suggest that. I was going to. That
No,
was my next question.
I
Okay.
have to stay away from sativas. Indicas are fine. But even indicas now, like when I'm not gonna lie, when it wasn't legalized and we were buying it off the street, I had much more a lot better of an experience. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm.
Versus the things that they're selling in the dispensary. And I don't know if it's the CBD levels aren't there or what.
So I mean, it's interesting that you said that. Okay, so first of all, cannabis is really a everything is a hybrid. There's no really indica or completely sativa. They're usually hybrids because they have been crossbred so far long in the strains. But what I would suggest is like if you have a new cannabis or something that's new to you, or something that you're, excuse me, it's something that you're used to and it works for you, then you want to stick with that strain. Say like the strain of this week's strain for our show is lemon cherry gelato. Love it. It's a hybrid. It might be something that you might want to try because then it gives you the indica experience, but not completely indica in the couch kind of thing. Because a lot of times, I don't know if that was your next thing, but a lot of times that's what folks experience is being stuck in the couch.
Well, no, not even like that. Like the indica that I'm talking about was actually very, very good. You know what I'm saying? I was still moving on. I was just more relaxed, right? My body, my nervous system,
Hmm.
was a lot more relaxed than anything. And it wasn't really, and it really wasn't like a big head high, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
In my head
Totally.
type of high. So, because I'm already a very much in my head person, right? I already deal with this.
Uh-huh.
um which I go to therapy for. I do the things I draw, like it's just my nervous system is way out of whack, right? A fight or flight mode is always there.
I understand. I understand. So, because
So,
again, that's why I said that about the strains, because they could say to you at the dispensary, "Oh, this is an indica. This is that." So you want to stick to, like I said, if you find something that works for you, then stick to that strain. And then if you try something new, don't like I had a patient one time who took her grandson tried to, dose her, and they started smoking a blunt. He walked away. She kept smoking a blunt, and it was a negative experience. But had she maybe stopped. You know what I'm saying? Had a couple of puffs and put it out, and then assessed how she felt. And I think this could apply to you too, is to have a couple of pulls, put it out, and see how
And
it works for you.
that's what I do. And that's what I
Okay,
do. It's
okay,
still just affect. It still just affects, especially because I'm not a big smoker. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? I'm not a big smoker, so my tolerance is very, very low. And I'm not a big smoker because of it's a hit or miss for me. You
Hmm.
know, very hit or miss. And I
You're
don't. And
definitely dealing
everybody
with a
just.
tightrope.
And I kind of get jealous of other people because I'm just like, how are you enjoying this? How do you enjoy it? You know, how do you
You
enjoy
got
it?
high envy. That's funny. That's funny.
Yes, I was just like, you son of a bitch, how do you enjoy your high? How?
Usually it's the averse. Like people usually say, "Oh my God, I'm too high. I'm too high. I'm too high. I'm too high." So yeah, we
Yeah,
like I said, we do, like, and your
I thought,
situation is not
right,
unique. I'm sorry, you are unique as an individual, but your situation isn't unique. It's like you said, you really encapsulated it all when you said it's hit or miss. Because once you find what works for you, it's going to work for you.
right. Because
Do you
last
know
time I
anybody
saw,
who's suffering from multiple sclerosis?
um,
Do you know what multiple sclerosis is?
I believe so. I believe I had a friend that might have,
Hmm.
might have. And explain to me what is that? What is that exactly again?
Sure, sure. So basically, multiple sclerosis is a condition that affects our whole bodies. All right.
Yes.
So let me just go back to here. So basically, it's a neurological disease that affects the brain and our spinal cords. And so what it does is it disrupts our movement, our coordination, our sensation, our vision. Have you ever, you like TV, right? You remember, I don't know how old you are, because there's two people prominently that I remember or I know of who have multiple sclerosis. One of them is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It's Michael J. Fox. He's an actor. He was in a couple of movies. He's a young actor, and then
Mm-hmm.
he developed that. So MS, it disrupts our movement, our coordination, our sensation, and our vision. So what happens is many people experience muscle stiffness, nerve
Right.
pain, chronic fatigue, and the difficulty with their coordination. When I first started working in the industry, I saw one of the first people I saw was a gentleman who his movements were so aggressive and so violent that he couldn't hold, let's say, a cup of tea or a glass of water,
Oh yes.
because
Okay. Yes.
so
I
what
have known somebody like that. I have known somebody like that that suffered from that. Then, for sure.
so
Um.
that's where the muscle spasms come in. So cannabis has helped many people like that. So we what we do here is that we talk about those conditions. We talk about it weekly. Every week we talk about a condition. So I appreciate your input um, in
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Yeah. 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 I was just trying to better educate myself because I haven't really got answers like I've been searching
Hmm.
for these type of situations because for some reason people just look like love. They just look like they enjoy the same weed or the same marijuana or the same cannabis, right? In other terms, that for some reason I feel like my life is flashing before if I smoke it.
Okay. See, again, like that. Hmm,
It's
that just
severe.
may
I'm
be too
telling you, I
strong.
have
I mean,
severe. It's so severe.
are you trying to keep up with the big girls and the big boys? Are you
No,
just you
no,
said you're
no,
keeping
not
a
at
couple
all.
puffs, right?
Yeah, just a couple of puffs. I promise. I'm very, very careful, right? I'm very, very careful. So whenever I do these things, I am very, very careful. However, it just seems like 60% of the time it does not work out for me. It does not, and I'm not a regular smoker, right? Before I joined the military, I was smoking, but I never really care. But it's not that I didn't care for it, right? It's not that I didn't
Hmm.
care for it. It's just but part of my I would say that I don't care for it, but part of me saying I don't care for it is just going
off of the experiences that I have, right? I don't care for the experiences with it. Is
So
there
have you
something
ever? Is there
really, really?
another way? Have you ever tried another way? Like, have you ever tried like an oral solution? Like, because
Oh yes. Um, I,
a one to one.
I've
Do you know what a ratio is?
mm-hmm. Yes. So I have tried. I made my own wheat brownies, wheat baked goods. You know what I'm saying? Um, and some of them have worked out for me. Some of them have not. Right. So there's I have known to have a better experience with my wheat brownies, but I don't know if that was the type, because when you're getting this stuff off the streets, you because this is before it was legal, by the time
Hmm.
they started making it legalized and um in most parts of the country, right? I was also getting it off of the streets. You get me?
Hmm.
So like I said, though, I felt like I had better experiences with that, you know. So I didn't know exactly what I was getting. So there will be
And you
times
don't
when
have that. You don't have that. You don't have that plug anymore. You don't have that resource anymore.
no,
Because I mean,
no, because it stopped making them a lot of money, because
okay.
people were able to just of people just went with what was convenient versus what was cheaper,
Hmm. Hmm.
or what was there.
Wow, that's
So
interesting.
the plugs really did stop. A lot of the plugs, and the plug that I was getting from, when people were calling just Reggie, right?
Hmm.
And something that I knew wasn't gonna make me sit there and get stuck. Not only stuck on the couch, but stuck in my own head, like hybrids do, right? It got me stuck on the couch and stuck in my own head. Explain that, right?
Well, that's a strong indica. Indica in the couch. That's the one of the limericks for it. Indica in the couch. So if you're in
Yeah.
the couch and you're in your head, then that's gonna be, that's gonna be really, really, really what it
No, it
is.
was a mental. It was hell. It was hell for me.
And you smoke that,
I was stuck in a mental hell. That's how I would describe it.
and you
And I
smoked it.
right, and I don't like having I don't like not having control over myself, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Well, you said something about the military, but I appreciate your input. But we're about to wrap up the show today. So, do you have any other
I
questions?
apologize if I
No, 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 no. That's cool. That's fine. That's what we do. That's what we do it for. I'm glad I was here to answer your question. I'm glad you had a question for us. I just want to let you know that we usually run for an hour or so, but we're here every Wednesday. So you follow me.
right.
Appreciate you. You can hear yourself back if you want to follow on the platform for the podcast, because I take this and I just reuse it for my podcast. It's on Buzzsprout, or you can
Okay.
find it on Spotify, and you can hear yourself. If you want to come back on next week, please feel free to do so.
And when you get a chance, share some of your links.
I certainly will. I'll certainly share the links and let folks know. Like I said, I usually have, if you listen to the show, I usually have a co-host. We're all cannabis, we're all medical patients. So he's going through his thing right now. He's had a little treatment done, a little surgery. So he's healing, but his name is Professor Waffles, and I'm Dr. Bong. And we used to do the show here years ago, but then we went to Instagram Live, and we're back here, and we're here every Wednesday at 9 to 10, and we chop it up. And next week's show, what's next week's show about? Where is the information? Next week's show is about Alzheimer's. I don't know if you know people, but cannabis
Oh
can be
yeah,
can be
yeah,
beneficial for folks who are dealing with Alzheimer's.
yeah. And I dealt with a lot of Alzheimer's and patients who also had dementia as well. A lot of senile patients.
I totally understand. So we
Yeah.
got some more friends of the show. You are a new friend. Thank you so much for coming on Aquarius Girl in Louisiana. So tonight we also recognize Living Soul DMV supporting regenerative cultivation practices, and BuzzFeed Weekly for sharing cannabis news and community insights. So we're going to look into the last lens. We got, is that lightning out there in New York? I don't know. Is it from the potpourri? Cannabis culture continues evolving around science, policy, and entertainment, and sometimes that history can be very surprising. Tonight's spotlight is an article I came across a celebrity stoner, and it's something. Oh, that's definitely lightning, babe. Usual in the music history. Now, anti-cannabis songs. Yes, songs warning people about cannabis. Different era, different messaging, and many of those songs came from a time when prohibition and misinformation were widespread. So, looking back today, they remind us how much the conversation around cannabis has changed. Today, the focus is on science, education, and responsible use. So two more shout outs of today's show. We want to shout out a real dispensary, Big Gas Dispensary, part of the growing retail cannabis landscape, connecting patients and consumers with legal cannabis products, and Pen Game Publishing, supporting not only cannabis storytelling, publishing, and creative voices in the industry, but also Best Buds Magazine, the Cultivar, but also Best Buds Magazine. And our Cultivar Spotlight this week is Lemon Cherry Gelato. As I said before we close tonight's show, it's time for our Cultivar Spotlight. Today's cultivar, lemon cherry gelato. The genetics often associated with the gelato family, the lineage connected with Sunset Sherbet, and Girl Scout cookies. The terpenes are limonene, which have a citrus aroma, hence the name limonene. Carophyllene, that's where you get the spicy notes, and then myrcene, where you get the earthy undertones. And one of the things, I'm sorry,
Oh, okay. All right, brother. I'm gonna get off of here and let you finish up the show.
I
Um.
appreciate you.
All right. You have a good one. Okay, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.